So the only people not going on Medicare at 65 are those that they or their spouse are working and covered by a group plan. Everyone else, we're going to start Medicare at 65. And if we're not receiving Social Security, we have to self-enroll to make that happen. Now let me explain the process of self-enrolling. Number one, if before enrolling today into Medicare, you must create what is called an Ssa.gov account. Now, Ssa.gov accounts have been around for years, and they were just clearly voluntary. You didn't have to have one. Well, today, you have to have one or at least attempt to have an Ssa.gov account. So let me just give you some tips about that. In fact, I shared this at a workshop recently. The guy came up to me afterwards, and he said, Marvin, it took me 3 days to figure that out. Calling and waiting on hold and asking questions. And he said, you told me what to do in 5 minutes. Let me tell you what to do in 5 minutes. It may save you 3 days, okay? And so here's what happens. If you do not have an Ssa.gov account and we're ready to start Medicare and or Social Security, then you have to go to this website. And when you go there, they're going to ask for your name and your address and your birth date and your Social Security number and all the vital information on you. And then as soon as you put that in, there will be 5 credit questions that will be loaded on your computer. Those credit questions are going to ask questions about mortgages, automobile loans or leases, student loans, bank credit cards typically. And it goes something like this. They'll say, we noticed that you had a mortgage loan that was taken out in 1997. Who is the lender? And they will list 4 different institutions, and then they'll have one that'll say none of the above. So it's kind of multiple choice. 4 institutions, none of the above. And then they'll say something like this, in regards to that mortgage that you had in 1997, what's the payment? And they'll give you some ranges, $750 to $1,000, $1,000 to $1,250, $1,250, $1,500, and then none of the above. Here's why I'm mentioning it. There will be times when none of the above is the appropriate answer. Okay, that happens. But if you have to answer none of the above to all 5 questions, I will tell you, you're not going to set up an Ssa.gov account. In fact, those 5 questions more than likely have nothing to do with you whatsoever. Those questions are not yours. So what has happened? Well, when they went to pull those credit questions up, your credit has been locked down either by you or some other, maybe a breach or something that you experienced, and so your credit's locked. So those credit questions are not yours. So here's the way you must do this. You must, with a photo ID in hand, go to a local Social Security office and tell them, I tried to set up an Ssa.gov account, but I couldn't, all right? And by the way, you're not the first one that ever show up with that message. This happens probably 20% of all people have this experience. So you go to the Social Security office, we have a photo ID, and what's going to happen is you're going to tell them, I tried to do this. They will, on the spot, reset your account. And they're going to initiate a letter that'll be mailed to you in about probably 7 to 10 days. And it is going to have a one-time activation code. So once the letter comes, we're going to Ssa.gov, and we're going to put that code in when it calls for it. And what that does, it allows you to bypass those credit questions, and then you can set up your account. All right, you're going to give it a username and a password. Obviously, keep that. It's very important. And then there's 2 more things about this. As you're going through the process, they're going to ask you, would you like to have an extra level of security? Now, again, that's your decision. If I'm doing that, I would say no. I think there's plenty of security without that. Second one is more important, and that's this. They're going to say, now, every time you want access to your account, you are going to be given an 8-digit access code. And that access code is good for only 10 minutes. And so they'll say, do you want us to email it to you or text it to you? I would encourage you, have them text it to you. Almost all of us carry our phones, right? And texts are very common today. If you put email, here's what could happen. There may be a time they're going to send it to the email and your email server is down or something has happened. And I've been with lots of folks who have difficulties whenever it's going to their email account. So have them text it to you. It'll save you a lot of time. So here's the point. That's the process that you have to go through to set up this Ssa.gov account if you don't have one. All right? Now, by the way, if you work with us, we are happy, delighted to help you through the whole process. Once we have this account, now we have to go to another website to enroll into Medicare. Now, if you're not going to enroll into Social Security at the same time, this is the favorite website we like. We'll actually type in ssa.gov/Medicare only, and then it will fill with Medicare only questions, nothing about Social Security, so you'll know you're just enrolling at this time into Medicare. If you don't want to do it online, you can make an appointment with a local Social Security office. I will tell you this, sometimes that's very difficult to get an appointment. They're usually 60, 90 days out, or you can call this number here. This is the toll-free line. Now, one of the negatives about calling this number is, I think the last time I called, I think I was on hold for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. All right, so our preference is to work through local Social Security offices. They usually pick up the phone much faster. You do have to call during business hours. Any of these methods will get you enrolled into Medicare. All right, so if you're not taking Social Security, then this is what you're going to need to do. Now, I told you earlier, we are retirement planners, so we address a lot of issues about Social Security. So I want to cover just a couple things, all right? First of all, full retirement age. Anyone born between the years of 1943 and 1954 has a full retirement age of 66. But after 54, the government started adding 2 months to every year. So if you're born in 1955, which some of you are, your full retirement age is 66 and 2 months. If you're born in 1956, it's 66 and 4 months. So they kept going up till 1960. And anyone born in 1960 has a full retirement age of 67, and everyone thereafter, all right? So we have this full retirement age. And all that simply means is the government establishes a dollar amount. They actually call it your PIA, primary insurance amount. And this primary insurance amount is your retirement benefit at your full retirement age. Now, we know that we can take earlier. Certainly you can take all the way down to 62. But if we take at 62, we're going to take less money. So if my full retirement age is 66, if I take 1 year early, I lose 6%. If I take 2 years early, I lose 12%. 3 years, 18%. If I take at 62, I'm going to lose a full 25% in my benefit, and that is a permanent reduction. And that's why many of you are not going to take Social Security yet. Now, some of you have made the decision, you're not even going to take it full retirement age. You're going to allow your account to grow, right? It grows at 8% a year up until age 70. It will grow at that 8%. Those are called delayed retirement credits. Now, we'll have people ask us all the time, Marvin, what do you think about that? You think it's good to delay? Well, I can give you the perfect answer if you can tell me when you're going to die, right? Because that's really the bottom line. I don't know how long you're going to live. I will tell you this, our view is if you have parents or maybe grandparents who live to be in their 80s, 90s, it may make sense for you to delay taking that. And now, we also believe that, let's say that the highest earner in the family is the oldest, and so the spouse is younger. It may be wise for you to delay as well, because even if you don't live long enough to benefit from those delayed retirement credits, that additional 32%, your younger spouse will, because that survivor benefit is the greatest amount that's available in that household, all right? And so those are things that really go into that decision. But the truth is, we don't know the right answer for that. But if for whatever reason, you're not taking Social Security, either because you are not full retirement age yet or you want that to grow, if we're going to start Medicare at 65, you're going to have to self-enroll. All right, now one more clarification about taking Social Security early. The government has what they call an earnings test, And so if we ever take Social Security prior to our full retirement age, we are limited as to how much money we can make as far as wages are concerned. So the earnings test has to do with wages. It has nothing to do with investment income, rental income, distributions from IRAs or 401ks, nothing at all, only wages. And so they're going to test your wages. How much can you make? And so from 62 to 65 this year, you're allowed to make $1,520 a month in wages with no bearing on your Social Security. If we make above $1,520, for every $2 I make above, they take $1 out of my Social Security check, all right? Now, that number changes the year you turn full retirement age, or 66 and 2 months, or whatever yours is. The year you turn. So let's just say I'm going to turn 66 and 2 months, my full retirement age, in October. From January through September, during those 9 months, the earnings test goes up. You can make $4,050 a month in wages with no bearing on your Social Security check. For every $3 I make above, they take $1 out of my check. So the earnings test goes up. But once you have hit your full retirement age, the earnings test goes away, totally eliminated. You can make as much money as you want in wages, and it has no bearing at all on your Social Security income, all right? So those are the things that we consider as we look at the decision to take Social Security. Once enrolled, your Medicare card is going to show up in about 4 weeks. All right, now, this has to do with what is called enrollment opportunities or enrollment periods. You have to ask yourself this question: what am I enrolling into? What is this opportunity for? And so there's really only two. One of them is to enroll into the Medicare system to get the Medicare card. And so we have enrollment periods to do that. There's actually 3 opportunities to get a Medicare card. 2 of those are wonderful, and 1 of those stinks. Okay, I'm going to show you which one you want to use and how to do that. All right, so getting a Medicare card. The second kind of enrollment periods have to do with other insurance. I strongly believe that it is unwise for most people to have Medicare A and B only. Too risky for that. There's just too much financial exposure with A and B only. And so most of you are going to need other insurance products. We call those Advantage plans, prescription drug plans, supplemental plans. So you're going to need to enroll into those kind of insurance products. When do you do that? Well, they give you enrollment periods to do that. And you must get those products when they make those available to you. So my point is this: we have different enrollment periods. One is getting a Medicare card, and one is getting insurance coverage. So right now I'm going to deal with getting the card. All right, because you want to get your Medicare card at the right time. And so there's actually 3 opportunities to get a Medicare card. I look forward to having you join me in the next video so that you can continue learning the ins and outs of Medicare. When you're ready for personalized advice for your situation, all you have to do is go to MedicareSchool.com in order to get in touch with us. When you get there, you'll be given the opportunity to schedule a time to talk with an Enlighten You Medicare consultant. This is a completely free service for you and there's no strings attached. We'd love to answer your questions and if it makes sense, help you choose and get enrolled in the best plans for your needs.